Today we're into Standard to solve the case of the Filched Falcon. Whatever that means. I'm not even sure that filch is a real word, but we're going to solve the case, I promise you that. So here is our Is It Artifact Sack aggro deck, and this deck is pretty sweet. So it's built around 3 big payoffs for playing a bunch of cheap sackable artifacts. The biggest might actually be Case of the Filched Falcon, a card I really overlooked during spoiler season, but this card's actually super strong. So a 1 mana case enchantment. When it enters a battlefield, we get a clue. To solve it, we need 3 artifacts, which our deck sometimes does by turn 2, usually by turn 3, and then once it's solved, we can pay 3, sack it, and turn a non-creature artifact, so like a clue or a treasure or a blood or a food, whatever, into a 4/4 flyer, which is actually like super efficient. There are games with this deck where we are attacking with a 4/4 flyer on turn 3 thanks to Case of the Filched Falcon. The other 2 big payoffs, Gleaming Eardrake, Syr Ginger, these 2 drops that grow as artifacts go in our graveyard. Whenever we sack an artifact, we get a counter on Eardrake. Whenever an artifact goes to our graveyard from our battlefield, we get a counter on Syr Ginger. Gleaming Eardrake also like just a really good uncommon. When it ETBs, it makes a clue token and it has flying, so it becomes a pretty scary threat. So these 3 payoffs let us fill the rest of our deck with things that make cheap artifacts and sack them. For example, the rest of our creatures, Spyglass Siren, Valeran Epicure, makes maps and clues when they come into play that then we can sack to like grow our Geardrake, grow our Syr Ginger, turn into creatures with Case, and then Subterranean Schooner is just an artifact that's really good, and it also explores when we attack with things. We also have Mister's Research Desk for some card advantage and also being a sackable artifact. Demand Answers, this one only a 1 of. I was on the fence if it's worth it, but being able to instant speed sack an artifact to draw 2 is pretty nice. Not only is it giving us card advantage, but it's also triggering like our Syr Ginger and our Geardrakes at instant speed, which can do some cool things during combat. For removal, Volt Surge sacks an artifact. Our Counter Disruption Protocol lets us tap an artifact to get a counter spell. Witchstalker's Frenzy doesn't actually care about artifacts, but it does kill Sheoldred, which is relevant. Mana base, pretty typical standard stuff. Oh yeah, one thing I did want to mention about this. So technically on Magic Arena, if you look at the build of the deck we're playing, it's 23 total rares, which is a little more than I usually like to play for budget Magic, but it's actually way better than this because 12 of those 23 is our mana base. It's just the standard lands that you hopefully already have because they've been in standard for a while. So if you already have the standard lands, it's actually more like 11 rares or mythics. And then there's also 3 rares in our sideboard in Urabra's Forge, which we really need against control. Super helpful there. But if you're playing best of 1 and you already have the lands, then this deck is like 8 rares and mythics to put together. As far as the rest of the sideboard, basically removal counters, Urabra's Forge for control. And that is it Artifact Sack aggro? Some Syr Ginger Gleaming Geardrake is it Artifact Sack aggro? That's our budget Magic deck for today. So let's jump into some games and see if we can smash some fools with these massive artifact creatures. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll be back in a bit for the wrap up. We've got new tokens and playmats, and you can even get the tokens signed if you want. Check them all out over at mtggoldfishmerch.com. Need some Magic cards? Well, you can snag them from our sponsor, Card Kingdom, over at cardkingdom.com/mtggoldfish. All right, budget Magic time. We are playing some blue-red artifacts in Murders at Karlov Manor Standard. And this hand's got a lot of disruption protocols. More than we probably really need, but oh boy, mono red. All right, untap land for this boat would be nice. All right, well, tap land, get in there, hit you down to 18. Little clunky with the tap land. Oh, opponent's playing. All right, so they're playing mono red, splashing for Lightning Helix, I assume. Yeah, opponent, Valeran Epicure, and passes. Well, let's discard one of these counters. We need to hit our lands more than we need 3 disruption protocols. Opponent. All right, that is a land. It's not the land we wanted, but it is technically a land. Well, I guess we gotta play the schooner. Play the land, get down the research desk. All right, opponent's also gonna sack their blood, get rid of a mountain. Oh, these disruption protocols looking so... I think these are gonna be the first cards that come out of our deck in this matchup. Pretty quickly. About it, mountain. Cemetery Gatekeeper, sure. And more Epicures. So if you cast an instant, you got to take 2. But it passes. Well, step 1, let's sack this research desk. See if we can hit our land drop. Actually, do we want the Epicure? The Epicure might be better here, oddly. Yeah, let's go Epicure. Play the Epicure. Play the Curse of the Filched Falcon. Yeah, as much as I would like to attack with the boat, I think we just gotta pass. Pass and solve our case. Voldarin Thrillseeker. Alright, backs up the Gatekeeper. Well, I mean, I guess we just chump for now. Opponent's gonna pass? Interesting. Interesting. Well, let's crack a blood, get rid of this disruption protocol. Draw another case. Well, play an Epicure. Ping, yeah. Yeah, let's Siren Storm Tamer. Yeah, I think we attack. I don't think we can just sit back here and do nothing forever. So get in with a bow. Wouldn't mind hitting a land. Syr Ginger. I mean, we're gonna keep it. Opponent. Ooh, gonna do some big blocks. Well, we'll get rid of the etchings. More Cemetery Gatekeepers. Is Cemetery Gatekeeper actually good? Scalding Viper. Opponent gonna do some attacking. Kill the Epicure. Take our beats. We have drawn like 0 removal this game, which is very awkward. I think we have to pass and just use the case to make a 4/4. Opponent sacks their blood. I mean, we're still in this, right? Like, we're not out of it. Unfortunately, we just have not been able to kill anything. Well, we're going to turn this blood into a 4/4. And let's see, kill you, kill you. So we take 4 down to 6. Curse of Shaken Faith. Whenever a player casts a spell, other than the first spell they cast each turn. How do we deal with this Gatekeeper? That's our issue at the moment. Now let's play Syr Ginger. Sack the map. Spyglass Siren to the graveyard. Is it worth taking 2? I don't think we can afford to. All right, so we got to pass. Play some defense. Opponent. Ooh, all right. Well, I mean, block and block. If they sack the Thrillseeker, it's kind of annoying. All right, opponent lets it go. So we finally get rid of this Gatekeeper. I mean, we're not dead yet. We're not dead yet. We're not in great shape, but we're not dead. Now, play the land. Play Case of the Filched Falcon. Pass the turn. So we get to make another 4/4. Disruption Protocol's back online if we really need to counter something. Okay, another Curse of Shaken Faith. I think we let that go, and we just commit to playing 1 spell a turn for the rest of this game. All right, let's make a 4/4. I mean, we're kind of, sort of, somehow doing this. If we could draw a creature here. So if we attack, it's definitely risky. All right, 1/2, let's... Ooh, Volt Surge. Okay, that has some potential. Let's play the land. Play the Schooner. Oh, we gotta stay alive for 2 turns. Can we stay alive for 2 turns? Opponent untaps. I think we counter that. Passing. Oh my goodness, we might actually get there. Okay, we draw Gear Drake. Play the Gear Drake. We just gotta live for 1 more turn? Oh my, are we gonna pull this off? What a comeback. We were so far behind. Hit ya, down to 4. Hold, hold. No bird spell to the face. Attacks. Well, crew up this Schooner. Block you, block you. And opponent scoops it up. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. We were so far behind. That was a really impressive comeback. All right, we're getting rid of these disruption protocols. That was, okay, I think that was an example of why that curse is not very good. If our opponent was drawing actual damage there, we were so dead. But instead, our opponent just kept drawing curses that we could play around. And they were a little annoying, right? We wanted to play multiple cards some turns, but it was so worth it to, to not die. If our opponent just drawn like a lightning helix or something, I think we're just dead there. Yeah, this hand's actually kind of cute. I like this hand. Wish we had untapped red mana for next turn, but actually, maybe we just play. All right, I guess that makes it easier. So we can play the Siren, get a map. Opponent takes up their faces. Tap land. Ooh, surveil land. In aggro, surveils to the top. Plays an Epica. Play the land. Get down our case. Do we want to sack the map? I think it's better to... Actually, I think we have to. Yeah. We kind of want this to be a 2-2 for blocking purposes. Yeah, we'll keep the boat. As a 2-2, this can actually block an Etchings or the Epic Gear opponent. Invasion of Theros. Okay, gonna tutor up an Aura. Oh, tutor up a god. O'Hare Axelon is a little annoying. Thankfully, we do have an answer. I think we Epic here. And Schooner. Solve the case. The case of the Filched Falcon, whatever that means. I don't even know what filched means. Is that even a word? Did they make that up? We're kind of hoping they play the all right, they don't have the land. We're kind of hoping they play the Axelon, because then we just kill it. Cemetery Gatekeeper. Sure. What, are you gonna exile your curse in case we play an enchantment? I don't even think that hurts us. Wow, that just hurts them. Okay. Best Cemetery Gatekeeper ever. About it. Passes. Ooh, Syr Ginger 2? I think we're in good shape. It didn't feel like we were in good shape last game. This game, it feels like we're in good shape. How much do we care about our opponent flipping this? A little. Now, let's play a Gear Drake. I really want to attack, but then they flip. Yeah, I think we gotta just pass. We gotta pass and wait. I imagine they're playing O'Hare Axelon this turn. And it gets the counter. Yup. That's fine, though, because we have the Witchstalker's Frenzy, so we have an answer for it. Yeah, let's untap. So we gotta kill this O'Hare Axelon. The question is, how exactly do we do it? Let's play the Atwara. Yeah, I think we play the Syr Ginger. How does this go wrong if they only attack with one creature? All right, so I think we need to crew. Go to combat, attack. Another case. Yeah, I guess that's worth keeping. Get rid of the god, hopefully. Opponent. Down to 13. This is gonna let our opponent flip this Invasion of Theros. Hopefully that's not a big deal. I mean, they're not gonna have enough enchantments to turn it on. But they are playing. Yup. The Cemetery Gatekeepers. It is wrong. No more. Oh god. Oh god. Well, they're in Thrill Seeker. Oh goodness. Backs up the Thrill Seeker. Pings us. We untap. It's a case. We knew about that. So we need to leave back the Syr Ginger. We also need to get in as much damage as possible. 1, 2, 3. Oh, but we need to be able to sack the Syr Ginger. Has lifelink indestructible as long as you control at least 3 other enchantments. Right now they have 1, 2. All right, let's sack a clue. Grow our stuff. Voldaren Epicure to the bottom. Draw a card. Play the land. Go to combat. Hit you with the Gear Drake. Pass the turn. Our opponent needs to turn on this Afara to have any shot here. So they need an enchantment. The problem is playing an enchantment. All right, another O'Hare Axelon. Playing an enchantment hits them for 2 with the Cemetery Gatekeeper. About it. Afara does not have lifelink, right? And then turn on this clue. I mean, opponent needs a removal spell, and they need it right now. I guess they have the Voldaren Thrill Seeker. Okay, so they Thrill Seek. We untap. We draw Restless Spire. Sack the blood. Discard the land. Grow the dorks. Do we care about Flame Blessed Bolt here? Not really. Alright, get rid of that. Play a Drake. Get a clue. Pass the turn. Opponent's at 4. So we can gain life with Syr Ginger. Scalding Viper as a creature, okay. Pings us. 1 card in hand. Oh, pings us for a million, okay. Pound it with a big attack. Are we dead? We block here, we block here. We sack Syr Ginger. Go up to 11. Wait, why do we take so much damage? Oh, does that have oh, it has trample. Oh, heh. All right, run it back. I think we are dead no matter what we did there, honestly. We will play first. All right, well, go Gear Drake. We have a couple of removal spells, which is nice. Oh, here Axelon can go off if it actually gets to sit on the battlefield for a few turns. Well, I guess we start Gear Draking. Double Gear Drake could do some work. Oh, Nyan. All right, opponent. Battlefield Fjorge. And Voldiran Epica. And passes. Well, Stormcarve Coast. Play Siren. And more Gear Drakes. Wow, they're just sacking the blood. They learned their lesson about the Cemetery Gatekeeper. The Cemetery Gatekeeper was way more likely to kill our opponent than kill us. War Leader's Call, all right. That's kind of fine. I mean, it's a good card, but... play a Mishra's Research Desk. Sack the Research Desk. Trigger our stuff. Hopefully find a land. All right, get the mountain. Play the mountain. Sack the map. Trigger our stuff. Schooner to the graveyard this game, I think. Hit you with everything. I mean, this is Drake's kind of going off. Our opponent is like kind of dead next turn. If they just play like their god or something, they pretty much just die. Found it, mountain. Cemetery Gatekeeper, sure. Does a little pinging and a little pinging. I mean, we can Flame Blessed Bolt that if we need to. Gets rid of the Research Desk. Goes attacking. Well, kill it. You gotta be able to kill a Drake. Well, step 1, sack a clue, grow the dorks. This Gleaming Gear Drake is so good. Let's do it this way. Let's play the Siren, the Spyglass Siren. Crack the map on the Gear Drake. Grow the dorks, grow the dorks. Play the land and swing. And the beauty of blue-red artifacts on a budget. Gear Drake's a card. Gear Drake is a card. Really, the cards that make this deck possible, really Gleaming Gear Drake, and then Case of Filched Falcon is way better than I realized. I sort of overlooked in this huge wall of text that it makes it a 4/4 flyer. That's what makes the card. I thought I just turned it into a 4/4 at first. Man, not very good. Like just a 4/4 ground creature, but 4/4 flyer actually makes this card pretty exciting in a deck like this. So yeah, that was a good one. That was a good one. Budget Magic time. We are playing some more Gear Drakes in standard. Some Is It artifacts, and yeah, we'll keep this. Stormguard goes a little obnoxious coming to play tap, but this hand's good. We'll see what we. Wow, opponent is mulliganing literally into oblivion. Wow. Okay. Well, that's a freebie. No sense in sideboarding because we don't even know what our opponent's doing. Yeah, I guess we'll keep it. Green. Oh, Teething Wormlet. All right. Well, let's get down the Siren. Okay. Removal spell for this would be nice. Opponent. Someone else who has realized the power of the Case of the Falcon. Filched Falcon. Well, play the land, get down the Gear Drake, hit ya down to 20. These disruption protocols not looking great. Gonna be hard to find time to leave them up. Aye. Sentinels of the Nameless City. Yeah, and grows the worm. And we are pretty far behind. Another Mishra's research desk. How do we survive this? Do we survive this? Because this attacks and then it turns on the case of the Filched Falcon too? Well, I mean, let's crack the map, grow the Gear Drake, keep the Witch Stalker's Frenzy. We'll just pass and play some defense. Maybe we can grow the Gear Drake big enough to keep us alive here. The problem is we can't crack the clue and leave up the counter. Oh, we might have to take one more hit. Makes a map. Block with the Drake, crack the clue. Yeah, I think we have to. We gotta risk it. We're too far behind. So we gotta block with the Gear Drake, sack the clue, grow the Gear Drake. If the Drake dies, we die too. You can't crack your maps at instant speed. That's not allowed. Fading Hope. Yeah, that is probably enough to kill us, honestly. Well, we get to draw a card. Yeah, we're just too far behind now, even with this Witch Stalker's Frenzy, because, yeah, now they solve their case. We draw only Mishra's research desks. And now our Drake's back down to being not big enough to do anything. I mean, I guess we play the Drake and pass. Pretty much convinced we're just dead, though. All right, so we get the clue, pass the turn. Opponent can make a 4/4. Opponent does not make a 4/4. They can still make a 4/4. They make the 4/4 out of their clue. Interesting. Opponent goes to combat. Opponent goes attacking. They make a map. Well, we gotta kill this wormlet. The Sentinel's been going off. Yeah, we just haven't drawn. Look at this hand. We have drawn the wrong part of our deck for this situation being on the draw here. We got a lot of removal we can bring in, though, for game 3, which will help. I mean, if you got a counter, just counter it and you win. It's as simple as that. You probably win anyway, honestly. Oh, jeez, opponent. All right. Found it. Eventually decides to cast a Shore Up. Hardest decision ever. Opponent, deep tanking. So we're going to go down the counters, bring in a bunch of removal, run it like that. I think our deck beats their deck. Hand just did not line up that game. But I think Gear Drake makes Izzet artifacts better than Simic artifacts. All right, we get to play first. That is an unbelievably poor hand, and that is also a very poor hand. I think we're going to keep it because we don't really have a choice, but this hand is incredibly high risk that we just do not get to play Magic, period. What are we putting to the bottom? Yeah, let's go Siren to the bottom. Well, opponent's also doing some mulliganing. Oh god, opponent, not like this. Are you gonna mulligan into a concession again? If your deck wins one, oh boy, they're at 4. If your deck wins one game, but then mulligans into a scoop the other 2 games, that's not actually a very good ratio. Opponent with a tap land. Well, it all comes down to hitting a land off this Mishra's research desk. Okay, Restless Buyer, we will take it. Oh, all right, so we do get to play Magic today. I feel much better. Opponent Island, and we even have an Abrade here, and a Witch Stalker's Frenzy. So opponent's gonna do some Falcon fitching. And a Spyglass Siren. We draw another land? Okay, so we get to play the land. Syr Ginger. Voldaren Epicure. I feel like Syr Ginger is still a pretty underrated card. You gotta be the right deck. You gotta be an artifact deck, but in an artifact deck, it's pretty good. The scrying is actually, like, pretty relevant. Found it. Tough cookie. Makes a food, can solve the case. We draw Gear Drake. Well, we might just be adding to the battlefield then. How about a Gear Drake? And our own case of the Filched Falcon. And we will also solve the case and pass the turn. If our opponent draws a land, they get to start doing 3-mana things. That's where the case is and Tough Cookie is. So I think they're just going to go with case to the Filched Falcon. Yeah. All right. So opponent, this is fine. Our stuff's going to start to go off, though. So we drop to 16. We draw a land, which is actually pretty good. Let's play the Shivan Reef. Let's crack a clue. Get some triggers. Grow our stuff. Another case, which I think is worth keeping. Now we can abrade the Tough Cookie. And now we are gonna do a little bit of attacking. Let's get in there. Bound down to 12. Because we have this Witchstalker's Frenzy in hand, so we have an answer to this, this scary food. I feel like, all right, another Tough Cookie. I feel like Simic might be more explosive because of Tough Cookie, but I feel like our deck just scales so much more. Wow, opponent's gonna stay aggro. No fear, down to 12. Volt Surge is a amazingly good draw. Yeah, I think we actually just like sack an artifact even though we don't need to. Yeah, we're gonna sack a blood just to trigger our stuff. Kill the cookie. Research desk can go bottom, I think. And yeah, I mean, we're gonna attack. Turn on the clue. Attack it just a little off the top. All right, they bounce the 4/4, sure. I mean, I guess they got a food to gain some life. They actually have almost all. They need a treasure. They're a treasure away from Trinket, Trinket Tron. I guess they already have Tron, but they have pretty much all the trinkets going on. Opponent's trying to decide with this scry, do they keep it? What a good design. I love it. Syr Ginger is just such a good design. Opponent, wow. Opponent keeps it on top, drops to 8. Opponent needs something here though. Like if they don't, we'll see what they left on top. It better have an impact because they're at risk of just straight up being dead. They don't know about the Witchstalker's Frenzy, but if their plan's to block with this food. All right, you stride to the top. What is it? Wow, they keep it down. All right, hits us to 8. Maybe it's another Fading Hope. That would make sense. I kind of think that might be what it is. Surge Engine. We draw Volt Surge though. That's pretty good. And then Volt Surge the Surge Engine. Oh, all right. That was a weird match. There was a lot of mulliganing, especially from our opponent, but from us too, really. In the end, Syr Ginger proving that you should be playing her in your artifact decks because Syr Ginger gets real big real fast. Budget Magic time. We are playing some Is It artifacts in standard, and it looks pretty fine. And tap land go. Let's see what our opponent's up to. Probably just schoon into Syr Ginger, I assume. Opponent. Ooh. Playing some Azorius A. Well, let's get the boat down. Next turn we can presumably Syr Ginger and then crew. They could have a counter, I guess. Are we making disappear? No more lies. All right, so maybe our opponent's a control deck? I guess that means we want to draw another land so we can counter to get down the Syr Ginger. Tap land. Well, okay, play the land. Syr Ginger. Crew the schooner. Get in, hit ya. Definitely keeping the Gear Drake. Yeah, let's just put it to the bottom. All right. You did it, opponent. So opponent's definitely a control deck. We have a lot of counters in our sideboard. Wandering Emperor. Well, that we're gonna counter. Actually, wait. Trample Hexproof face as long as your opponent controls it. Actually, you know what? That's fine. Yeah, you got it, opponent. This is not gonna work the way you want because now you have a Planeswalker, so we have Trample Hexproof and Haste. I think we spoiled that we have a counter in hand, unfortunately. So opponent is going to make a 2/2. We will untap. We gotta do this first. Sack the research desk. It would be nice to play the Gear Drake first, but if we whiff on a blue source, yeah, we'll keep the island. Plenty of blue sources, so take the island, play the island, play the Gear Drake. And then I think we just hit our opponent. We kind of actually want this Wandering Emperor to stick around. I think it's actually helping us here. Because our opponent can't target our Syr Ginger. Wow, the Planeswalker attack's actually mattering. Like, not just a little, it's mattering a ton. Opponent makes a 2/2.
Do the talk.
Do we sack? Yeah, let's just untap. We draw an island. Yeah, let's Mishra's Research Desk. Sack it, do some scrying, do some growing. Yeah, let's take the Siren, I think. Play the land, play the Siren. All right, down to 13. Pass the turn. Yeah, unfortunately, Unearth Mistress Research Desk does not actually grow Syr Ginger. We have a counter, but we need to close out this game quickly because they're going to have Wrath with counter back up pretty soon. They can also cash in their Wandering Emperor to get rid of the Hexproof on Syr Ginger. All right, opponent's gonna keep it. All right, they tick up. I'm afraid to tap out. All right, untap. We draw an epic here. First step, let's crack our map on the Syr Ginger. Get some triggers. Schooner, gonna go bottom. We'll keep the research desk. Trigger, trigger. Draw the research desk. If our opponent fires up a creature land, I think that's okay. Draw a card, investigate, sure. A Ganjo on the Drake. All right. Drake down. We grow Syr Ginger. Definitely keeping Disruption Protocol. The Syr Ginger is going off. All right, your go, opponent. Your go. Let's see if you got the Wrath with the counter backup. The worst Wandering Emperor of all time. The hilarious thing about that is, I'm pretty sure our opponent just like easily wins that game if they did not play if they did not play their Planeswalker. The Planeswalker just absolutely wrecked them. So we'll bring in Urbrask's Forge. Bring in some more counters. Go down a bunch of removal. And I guess that's the... You know what? Let's go down one research test. Let's bring in all the counters. All the counters possible. Let's do it. Well, I imagine our opponent is probably siding out their Wandering Emperors. That text on Syr Ginger is almost never relevant. Almost never, but it was so relevant that game. It was like game winning that game, honestly. The only question is, tap land or untap land? Well, that makes it easy. Let's get down our Spyglass Siren. Now we get to play untap lands and still play all of our stuff. Opponent, Battlefield Forge. Passes. I feel like whatever we do here is going to get countered, but is there any argument to just leaving up the counter? Not yet. All right, let's play the Gear Drake. Ouch and ouch. Down to 17. All right, no counter. Well, that's good. At least we get the clue. Oh my God. It's Lightning Helix. How about it? Still doing it. I told you, still gonna do it. Let's play the land. Now we actually really want this case with the Filched Falcon to resolve. Please? Okay, that's huge. We get another clue, we solve the case, and eventually we're gonna get a 4/4 flyer out of it. Did you say? One of the nice things about this deck is we have so many clues that we have a lot of like natural card advantage, incidental card advantage built in. Opponent plays a land. Well, let's sack a clue. So with these cases, in case it's not clear, once it's solved, it's solved. So we had the 3 artifacts on our end step. It is solved. We can sack our artifacts and it's still solved. We already figured out the case of the Filched Falcon. What is Filch even? I gotta look this up. Filch, to pilfer or steal. Especially something of small value in a casual way. All right, so just some casual stealing. Is this a salty rope? Wow, opponent passes. Well, we'll play a land. Syr Ginger? Is our opponent actually just done? Oh, that would be it. We're gonna beat the control deck fairly. We don't want that. We don't want them to stop playing. Beating control always feels so good, but it feels less good if we win because our opponent just, aw, opponent, return to us, control opponent. Just play a Wandering Emperor real quick. I think our opponent might have returned, maybe. Oh no, maybe they're not back. Opponent, no. Are they salty roping? I don't understand what's going on. It felt like they returned during our turn and clicked something, but now they're back to counting down. Oh, and now their head's gonna explode, right? We would have won this game too. I am very confident with 2 counters in hand and the Urbrask's Forge. I think we're incredibly heavily favored to win this game. Well, a win's a win. I'm probably going to include this one in the video anyway. Sometimes when opponents like whatever, something weird happens, I don't include it. But the first game with the Wandering Emperor was so good. And I think we are like very well set up to get through the counters and get through the removal and win. budget magic time. We are doing some more gear draking in New Standard, and we have our demand answers, our one of. If we get one more land, we should be able to draw into more lands. Thankfully, we have 4 1-drops, so I guess if we don't, and we can make map tokens, we should be fine, right? Ooh, mono red? Mono red. All right. Bring it, mono red. I don't know how this goes. I assume it's bad that we're starting on a pain land, although good that our opponent mulliganed a bunch. We also kind of need this to live. All right, bloodthirsty adversary. Opponent gonna get in there. Oh, no blocks, no blocks. And a land off the top. Oh, it is a land, but boy, that's a painful land. Well, I mean, I guess we just gotta hope for the best. Oh, we're taking way too much damage off of our mana base. All right, we dropped to 13. Opponent flips their door. Land. Godric, of course. Well, our opponent has a really nice curve out on the mulligan here. So we play a land. We sack a map to grow the Drake. We mill a Drake. We play a Siren. Sack the map to grow the Drake. Mill the case, because we already have a million. And we pass the turn with a 5/5. Mountain. Case of Crimson Pulse. Wow, that is the perfect time for that card. Well, we block and block. I imagine we're getting blown out somehow here. Ouch. Yeah, that's unfortunate. That is unfortunate. Yeah, I think this means we're dead. People don't like when I scoop, so I guess we'll play it out. Gear Drake. I guess we play this and drop to... I mean, the problem is we're just locked into chump blocking, right? So none of this actually does anything. Like, in theory, we chump block for a turn and survive, but there's not anything we can do next turn that's going to change any of that. Yeah, that was a pretty nice case. Those play with fires. We almost managed to stabilize with the Drake. Well, the good news is we get to bring in a bunch of cheap removal and go down the counters, which are pretty clunky, and run it like that. With one more land, this hand's good. All right, we're gonna mulligan. We'll be responsible. All right, this hand's fine. It's fine. I mean, honestly, it's a pretty good 6. Wow, opponent's leading on the colorless land. Well, let's get down to Gear Drake. Step 1. Make us a clue. See, why isn't this a detective? Shouldn't this be a detective? Opponent mountain on turn 2. And spends a lightning strike on the Gear Drake. Well, play the land, play the case, and play Drake number 2. Solve the case. 4/4 incoming. Case of Filched Falcon is so good. The card's so good. Opponent, Urabrosk's Forge. Surprised they brought that in. We will take 1. We draw land. Well, let's play an island. I think we just need to use our case here and make a 4/4. We also get to leave up the Volt Surge Feldon for our opponent. And Charming Scoundrel for our opponent. What are we doing? Wicked roll? All right, Wicked roll on the Charming Scoundrel. Sure. I mean, this is good for us, right? Well, we will turn a clue into a 4/4. We will kill the Feldon. Opponent finds a land for next turn. Kill the Charming Scoundrel. Drop to 15. Ooh, that's actually pretty nice. Well, we will play Syr Ginger, do some attacking. And yeah, I think we just have to abrade. It would be nice to start sacking clues and growing our stuff, but I think we just got to kill the Urabrosk's Forge here. We'll see what our opponent does. Maybe something changes our mind. Another Feldon. Yup. Lightning Strike on Syr Ginger. Sure. But we will kill your Urabrosk's Forge. Syr Ginger down. But we're just like winning this race, right? This Gear Drake's about to start growing. Opponent gets in for 2. I guess they have the creature lands, but still, I think we're winning this race. Wow. All right, new plan. Another case. Headshot. Down to 9, and we're just presenting lethal next turn because of the power of Case of the Filched Falcon. Pilfering our way past mono red here. Opponent combat attacks. I mean, opponent has to have removal. If they don't have removal, they lose. Charming Scoundrel. That doesn't do it. That's not a removal spell. Wait, are we just better aggro than mono red? No, opponent gonna go digging. Desperation. Pitches a Scoundrel. Is it removal? Wait, that doesn't work. It's not white or blue. Yeah, that's not gonna do it. And yeah. Case of the Filched Falcon. Getting the job done. That's too many lands. I think we got a mulligan, unfortunately. All right, this will keep. I guess we just put a land. Well, do we put a land to the bottom? Oh, no removal feels bad here. Yeah, we really need a removal spell. All right, mono red. Oh, there's the faces. Seems like this might be one of those matches that whoever's on the play is going to be pretty heavily favored. So far, whoever's played first has won both of the matches. Opponent, Scapegoat, 2/2 Haster. Well, play the land. Yeah, I think we got a research desk. Kill something. Sure. I mean, if they want to suspect it, go for it. Well, we're going to kill the etchings. Down to 13. Draw Syr Ginger. Oh, this feels bad. All right, sack the research desk. Gotta find the land. We find a land, so take the island. Play it. Yeah, I mean, I guess we just have to play Syr Ginger as a blocker. We're super far behind the mono red curve out here. Ugh. 2 land mono red curve out. So you know that's just all action. The Manic Barrage. Not sure why your opponent's playing that, but it worked out there, kinda. Well, play the land. Play the Schooner. Play the Gear Drake. Yeah. Don't think we're gonna overcome this draw for mono red on the play, unfortunately. 2 lands, all the 1-drops. Pretty decent. Abrades the Schooner. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I feel like this matchup is really heavily swung by who goes first. I mean, obviously your draws are going to play into it too. Opponent on the play and just had the super, all the 1-drop draw. And yeah, not able to stabilize through it, unfortunately. Budget magic time. We are playing some Gear Drake, Syr Ginger. Is it artifacts in standard? And Stormcarved Coast looking a little tapped, but can't have everything, I guess. So I guess we just Epicure into see what we draw. I mean, I guess worst case, even if we have a tap land, we can still play the case on turn 2. Well, Shivan Reef and Voltaire and Epicure. Go. The case is the stronger card. All right, they take the case. Well, we do draw a land, so we get to get down the Gear Drake. Get a clue, get in with the Epicure. So now the challenge is growing our things outside of cut down range. Opponent, Tithing Blade. Well, we'll sack the Epicure. Play the land. Play Syr Ginger. Get in with the Gear Drake. Yeah, I mean, I guess we just play the Siren. If we get down tap with everything, our board's gonna start growing. We'll see. Opponent, Field of Ruin, Preacher of the Schism. Oh, that is fine. That is super fine. So we will Volt Surge, sack the Blood, get a couple triggers, kill the Preacher. Do we want an Epicure? I guess it's fine. Sure, we'll keep an Epicure. Preacher down, get in for a bunch. Down to 10. Here we go, opponent. And we have the Disruption Protocol if they find removal, which is really good. Sheoldred's Edict. Well, we don't even care about that. We'll just sack the Dork. And Concealing Curtain. Well, let's sack the clue. Grow the dorks. Keep the Epicure. And opponent. Done, done, done. The deck can get off to some fast starts. Like, once the stuff starts growing, I guess we were kind of lucky that our opponent was playing all these edicty removal spells, so they they kept killing our, like, Spyglass Sirens instead of Syr Ginger. So that kind of worked in our favor, I think. I kind of want more Frenzies. I guess Herbrest Forge is probably pretty good here, too. Can we find room for it is the question. Yeah, let's bring in a couple. Let's bring in a couple forges. Well, that was a pretty impressive draw for the deck. Syr Ginger's a real card. Yeah, I think we mulligan that. That is a clunky looking hand. Well, this hand has a bunch of Syr Gingers. I guess we just put a land to the bottom. Yeah, let's put a land to the bottom. All right, well, let's see. Opponent swamp. Oh no, triple Syr Ginger. Without another creature on the battlefield, the Edicts will get the Syr Ginger this time. Which I think means we actually just play this Epicure first. We need a buffer body. Found it at a 19. We're gonna fork them. Well, there's the Edict. Opponent really loves those Edicts, don't they? Opponent, Field of Ruin, and a Preacher of the Schism. Well, I think we gotta sack this blood. Discard a Syr Ginger. It'll draw a case. Ay, 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 ay. Okay, this is going poorly now. Well, Syr Ginger, go. Swamp for our opponent. And Preacher of the Schism. And I don't even know what our opponent's trying to do here. I am so confused. Well, we'll discard a couple cards. We finally draw land. Well, I guess pass the turn. Unfortunately, this Preacher's gotta attack before we can kill it. Concealing Curtain. Opponent's gonna flip the Concealing Curtain. Goes attacking. Well, we will kill the Preacher. Well, let's see if we can get back in this. Our opponent's plan of playing all the discard in the world is a weird one. Well, let's crack the map. Keep the Gear Drake for sure. Play the land past the turn. Swamp for our opponent. Tithing Blade. Okay. Opponent gonna go attacking. Alright, well, Gleaming Gear Drake. So our opponent's actually playing pretty controlling. Take Numa as the last card. Gets back the Preacher. Plays the Preacher. Well, crack the clue. Grow the Drake, draw a card. Alright, we found a boat and a disruption protocol. We really got to kill the Preacher somehow, but how? Yeah, I mean, I guess we just have to pass. We really can't afford to let this Preacher start drawing cards. Alright, opponent's gonna randomly blow up a land. I guess they're probably trying to thin the deck, maybe? Alright, opponent untaps. Well, kill the Preacher. If we can find one more removal spell for the eye, we might be kind of stabilized. Opponent gets in, hits us. Oh, God, what a draw. What a draw. Opponent, Cruelty of Gix off the top. Well, we'll play another Gear Drake. Go to combat. Hit you with... Oh, we can't even do that, can we? Yeah, we just got to pass the turn. Opponent gets to tutor. Oh, that Cruelty of Gix was so good. What is it with people on Arena playing Wraths in their aggro decks? Oh, Arena players. Also, like, all these Edicts. Tithing Blade. Why not just play good removal? And then the Cruelty is going to get back a Preacher, most likely. Target player discards 2 cards. Well, actually, you know what? I think we just let this go. Well, alright. Sack the clue. Grow the Drakes. Draw a card. Oh, Mountain. Not good. Mishra's Research Desk is a bit better. Play the Research Desk. Sack it. Grow the Drakes. Still don't really have a way to stop the Cruelty of Gix. Well, we'll take the boat. Play the boat. play the mountain. Yeah, I think our most realistic plan is just kill our opponent in the air here. Take Numa, Mills. Grabs a Preacher. We're gonna hit you. Down to 9. The problem is Graveyard Trespasser throws off the math, potentially. Graveyard Trespasser. Are they eating the research desk? They eat the Syr Ginger. It goes up to 10. Okay. Concealing Curtain. It's going to come down to this Mr.'s research desk. Sacking it gets us up to 9. We need one more sackable artifact, essentially. Yeah, opponent runs out the Preacher. I mean, this is it. It all comes down to, and our draw step. We get our draw step down to 3. Syr Ginger. An artifact, but we can't currently sack it. So that doesn't really do anything, right? So let's, well, I mean, let's see what we find. Research desk. Sack it. Grow the Drakes. Come on, come on. Volt Surge does it. Volt Surge actually does it. Volt Surge. I sack the boat. Trigger, trigger, and whoo, boy. That was close. That was super close, but Gear Drakes, I'm telling you, Gear Drakes. Do not underestimate the Gear Drakes. That was a game where they started off looking slow. We were definitely on the back foot. Our opponent was able to kill a bunch of our stuff. Eventually, we just stuck a couple of Drakes, and they ended up being like a 2-turn clock. We just killed our opponent over the course of 2 turns of attacking by sacking artifacts. That's the power of the Gear Drake. And remember, it's like a Thraben Inspector. It leaves behind a clue. Yeah, it's 2 mana, but still, like, even if it dies, well, at least we got a clue out of it for Syr Ginger or future Drakes or for our case or whatever. So yeah, it's actually pretty good. Deck sweet, sweet, sweet. So what do we learn this week about is it artifacts in Murders at Karlov Manor Standard? And I gotta say, I think this deck's pretty sweet. So record-wise, 14 matches, won 7, lost 7, exactly 50% win rate, which, that's fine with a budget deck, but the deck plays pretty well. We did struggle a little bit against like mono red just being more aggressive than us, but in other matchups, the deck actually felt very competitive. We have these threats that just snowball out of control. We get some counters, we get good removal, and I gotta shout out both of the new cards from Murders at Karlov Manor. Gleaming Gear Drake, that card I expected to be pretty decent, and it was really decent. It's so good in this deck. Probably our second best threat. The one that really shocked me, though, is Case of the Filched Falcon. This card deserves a little bit more respect, like to the point where I'm kind of thinking we're going to see this one in like Pioneer or maybe even Modern, where this is like a really good option if you're playing any sort of like in Soul artifact style aggro deck. I think this is the new best in Soul artifact. Like, sure, you'll probably play both of them or whatever, but the fact that it's only 1 mana and it gives you a clue token and the creature that it makes turns into a flyer is really, really huge. Plus, the way it works, it's not like in Soul Artifact as an enchantment sitting on your creature, which means enchantment removal can't really deal with it. So Case of the Filched Falcon really impressed me, but overall, the deck's got a lot of cool synergies. It's got a lot of cool tricks. You do gotta really think about it. This is a deck that will reward you for playing it a bunch and like learning the lines, because I think I was even messing it up at some points just with like how many counters you can get on your Gear Drakes or your Syr Gingers. There's a lot of like weird math. Do I have to like not cast anything this turn so I can sack some artifacts to grow my threats enough to win in like 2 turns, or do I have to add more to the board and not sack my artifacts? There's so many decision points in this deck, but I thought that made it super fun to play. So if you like artifact synergies, you like Drakes, you like Syr Ginger, would definitely recommend this as one of the better budget decks for Murders at Karlov Manor Standard. So anyway, that is it Artifacts? That's been our budget magic for today. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will talk to you soon. Looking for even more magic? Well, check out the video about the complete history of the modern meta, or maybe last week's budget magic where we did some doppelganging in Standard.